Hello, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today we're going to discuss various things, including indie rock, maybe some current events, as well as cat ownership, and when you have too many of them.
And, as always on this program, yelling will be prohibited, as it is verbal violence.
Welcome to the 5th episode of Bonus Features with Alex and Robert. I'm Alex.
And I'm Robert.
And we've got a lot of stuff to discuss today. But first, to give you a little update, my bracket is officially ruined.
Yes, I think most people's are now at this point.
But here's what pisses me off, though. I got Michigan right, so I thought there was a sliver of hope that I could pull it off. But then Duke lost, and there went my champion.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like Duke, I was trying to be pragmatic. And even in that, I failed.
Yeah, I think my dad actually still has Loyola in his bracket, making it to the championship.
Wow. Okay. So he might win his pool then.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. I don't know how Loyola's going to fare against who are they playing?
They're playing Michigan.
Oh boy,
that's gonna be a tough game.
It is, but
it's not undoable though.
No, especially not for the odds that Loyola they've been kind of just surmounting all throughout the tournament. They've just been defying so many odds.
Well, but that's the other thing, though. I was saying this last time. Their bracket, the way their Elite Eight matchup was, what were they, a 9 seed or something?
I think so.
Yeah, so it ended up, being a pretty good matchup for them. But anyway, moving along, we've got a lot of news to talk about. Mostly a lot of trailers.
Yes, there have been so many.
And to start off, we're going to talk about one from A24 called Under the Silver Lake, and it is from writer David Robert Mitchell. Hey, look at that. I did a three name person, and I actually got it right this time.
Oh, yeah?
All right, but enough of that. So, David Robert Mitchell, the director from It Follows, which was a great horror movie from 3 or 4 years ago-ish.
Yeah, I think it was like 2015.
Yeah. Is bringing us another movie, and similar to It Follows, it seems like the usage of location is almost another character.
Yeah.
I felt that very strongly watching It Follows. Detroit and the, surrounding areas, Taylor and Dearborn Heights and Warren and all those places. So again, in the same fashion, it looks like Silver Lake and the greater Los Angeles area plays a big role in this movie.
Yeah, this definitely looks like it's pretty wacky, and I'm hoping it's ends up being like a better version of Inherent Vice, which was like a similar like wacky detective kind of neo-noir, but this one looks a lot more focused. It looks like it has way more of a central drive, and though this one also looks like it's going to trend into some weird things, I feel like it has a direction. Right,
I think that's pretty clear from the trailer. Is despite all the weirdness he's going to encounter, because I've used this to reference weirdness many times, a lot of it feels like he'll be trapped at that party scene in Midnight Cowboy, where he's in that apartment and there's just all these weird art school people.
Right.
So, despite that level of weirdness, the central plot is he meets this girl he likes, and all of a sudden she's gone, because she moves out in the middle of the night and her apartment's completely cleared out, and he just wants to go find her.
Right.
So, again, it's not rocket science, but I guess what the part of it that's going to make it different is the why she's gone, and it looks like a lot of it has to do with this sort of cult or conspiratorial aspect.
Yeah, which I like.
Right. It's a good... I kind of like that it's a mystery that the audience solves along with the character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this should be a very interesting movie. It's also good to see Andrew Garfield back in action.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen him in anything since, like, Hacksaw Ridge, which was, like, well over a year ago now, I think.
Yeah, okay, so back in... I didn't mean to make it sound like he hasn't been working, but,
Oh, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen him in something that was, like, really quite good.
Well, I thought you liked Hacksaw Ridge, though.
Well, I mean, that was a year ago.
Okay, yeah.
It's been too long. I need my Andrew Garfield fix.
Yeah, I think it's good that he's back.
Yes.
Especially after he got screwed over with Spider-Man.
Yes.
Because that was not his fault in the slightest.
No, not quite.
Okay, yeah. So this looks pretty cool. I'm very excited about this. Then next up, we finally got a new Deadpool 2 trailer. And this time, instead of being like, hey, pop culture reference, I'm going to do that in a Deadpool suit, laugh, they actually showed footage from the movie. How about that?
Yeah, we get some pretty great footage of fight scenes. We get some interesting character reveals, some character confirmations.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Terry Crews is in this movie.
And then, who else?
Bill Skarsgård is also in this movie.
So this sounds amazing on paper. You
Yeah.
got a Deadpool movie with Terry Crews and Bill Skarsgård. I'm excited about that, just hearing that.
Yeah, it's weird. I like the trailer. It's weird that I'm feeling about this movie the same that I felt about Deadpool 1.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean, because there's one thing that I'm still not entirely sold on. I'm pretty sure it'll deliver. But David Leitch being the director, I have astronomical expectations for the action sequences.
Yeah.
And so far, the action sequences look like they are ramped up from the last one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I saw, maybe one or two money shots to confirm, like, yep, this is the next step. Like in a Raid trailer, in Raid Redemption, you're watching this, you just think, holy shit, I need to see this immediately.
Yeah.
This looks really good. And there were a couple shots that look promising, but we'll just have to wait and see how the fight choreography turns out. It looks solid, but again, we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, and it's weird because I don't know why that's happening. Like, I'm kind of looking at this movie, or I'm going into this movie with the same attitude I was going into the first Deadpool with, which is like, all right, I'll see it.
I think part of it is, with the comedy at least, I didn't love all of the comedy in the first one. I thought it was definitely really funny.
Yeah.
For most of it. I thought there were some jokes that were just kind of stupid, though, here and there.
Yeah.
And again, I think that depends on just what kind of comedy you like.
Right. Definitely a lot of dark blue humor in this.
Yeah, which is fine. Obviously, I have no qualms with either of those.
Me neither, really.
It's just the first Deadpool. There were a couple scenes that I thought were gold, but throughout I thought the comedy was solid. I think I know why you're a little, maybe not underwhelmed, but a little bit maybe. It's just the comedy is good, the action is good, but you're looking for great.
Yeah, and I haven't really been blown away by anything I've seen, Like when I heard David Leitch was going to be directing this, I was expecting, some John Wick level set pieces to be on display here, and we haven't really seen that. It's been a lot of the comedy. Which again, it's like looks fine, but I'm also here to see someone, get their head cut off, stuff like that. I want to see people get beat up.
You want to see some ridiculous one-man army things.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll have it. It's just the trailer for me. It was a little too. It leaned a little too heavily on the Deadpool character. Rather than this, I mean, we didn't even see any of Domino in this, really. I mean, she has like the one line at the end, right?
Yeah, she says two things.
Yeah,
she says and both her lines are funny.
Yeah, they're great.
I should, and he's like, and that's why Sister of the Traveling Pants is like pornography or whatever, and she says, I should have finished college.
Yeah,
and the one line about we are going to be called X-Force, isn't that a bit derivative?
Yeah,
that shit's funny.
Yeah. I wanted, I'm already here for Deadpool.
Right. See, I think, you know what? I think that's it. I'm here, like, we already know Deadpool is going to be fine. Let's see a little more Domino.
And Cable.
Yeah, even Cable, there should be a little more.
So, I don't want to say the jury's out, because I'm going to watch it, but I feel like I'll be surprised. I'm hoping I'll be pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking, is my expectations are relatively high, but nothing out of the ordinary now that I've seen this trailer. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes.
Moving on to our next piece of news, or should I say next trailer, we got a little movie called The Ranger. Premiered recently at the Boston Underground Film Festival, or the Buff Festival, I guess is what it's also called.
Yeah.
Or BUFF. Anyway, it's a pretty simple movie. It's just a slasher about some punks who decide to hang out in the forest, and then they get picked off by a disgruntled park ranger.
Yeah. I like the premise. It's something we haven't... we were talking about it, and it's like, they really haven't done this before in a horror movie?
I feel like they probably have. It's just...
it just makes sense.
Yeah, it seems like a perfect... It lends itself pretty perfectly. Because, you know, there's always that weird morality aspect to slashers.
Right.
Like, the teens who are doing drugs and having sex at Camp Crystal Lake, they're the ones getting killed by Jason.
Right.
And this is kind of, well, you guys like doing this and, you know, on my park grounds, not on my watch.
Right.
Of course, I don't think he's going to talk or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks cool, and it's not like a super huge movie. It's pretty small.
Yeah, it definitely looks more low budge, but it doesn't look like it's slacking on the wackiness, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff I was looking at the website for Boston Underground Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
There was some stuff that looked very, very low budget. Like, it made this look like an expensive production.
Oh, wow.
In comparison. Yeah, but that just seems to be that festival's identity. And this was... I think this maybe won some awards. I don't know. But it's going there, and it's going to be playing at somewhere in New York. I think that might have been a couple days ago. It's called What the Fest.
Okay.
With exclamation point and a question mark.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's playing there also. So so far it's been getting decent buzz. So I'll be excited to possibly check that out.
That's good. Yeah, no, same here.
All right, moving along. Got another trailer.
Yes, yet another one.
This is a teaser though, and it's one of those old school ones, like the Ang Lee Hulk one, where he's just chilling in front of the mirror, and then he turns green, and then it's like, whoop.
It's kind of just a mood piece.
Yeah.
For what the tone's going to be like in the movie, I'd imagine, and it's for the movie Terminal, which get a load of this cast, by the way: Margot Robbie, Simon Pegg, Dexter Fletcher, Max Irons, and Mike Myers.
Yeah, I thought that was super odd that Mike Myers was in that cast.
Yeah,
I like that choice though.
Yeah, I mean he's you know, remember when he was in Inglourious Bastards?
Kind of.
He was like the guy that issued Michael Fassbender his like case at like the British like intelligence whatever. I mean he's no, you know, stranger to being in movies that require more than just like putting on a fat suit and like making fart jokes and shit. You know, it's like he'll do movies where it's like, yeah, I'll be in this thing where I have to be a little bit more serious.
That's the thing, is I can't really tell how serious this is gonna be or not.
Yeah, I kind of can't tell.
Simon Pegg's another actor that kind of makes it hard to follow the thread.
Right, and the premise itself, I have the logline for the movie, and it's Terminal follows the twisting tales of two assassins carrying out a sinister mission. A teacher battling a fatal illness, an enigmatic janitor, and a curious waitress leading a dangerous double life. Murderous consequences unravel in the dead of night as their lives all intertwine at the hands of a mysterious criminal mastermind, hell-bent on revenge. So for me, that could be anything from being like Baby Driver, you know, where it's like tongue-in-cheek, but it's also still very grounded and action-heavy and dramatic in ways. Or it could be just very straight-laced, like no comedy at all, you know? So I don't necessarily know what the movie's going for.
Who is playing which one of those characters?
Exactly.
That's another thing, because I heard about this movie, and I originally had thought Margot Robbie was playing an assassin.
Yeah, but
with a terminal illness. At least from what the teaser, it just shows her walking, and then there's some weird voiceover, like, this town is weird, and stuff happens. Or like, you know, one of those, like, in this city, you have to fight to survive. Like, one of those.
I think I heard that the city's going to be fictional also.
Okay.
So it could be even more like the heightened nature of it could be played up.
Yeah, so I think she probably plays the mastermind, whoever that is.
Yeah. The film marks the feature directorial debut of assistant director Vaughn Stein, who also wrote the script and follows a twisting tale of two assassins, played by Dexter Fletcher and Max Irons.
Oh, okay.
On a dangerous mission for a mysterious employer, their journey brings them across a number of colorful characters, including an enigmatic janitor. I'm assuming that's Mike Myers, just based on this poster, because he looks goofy and he's wearing like a ball cap that a janitor kind of would wear.
Okay.
And a mysterious femme fatale named Annie, played by Margot Robbie.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So maybe, yeah, I'm thinking, and that's courtesy of Collider. So it sounds like this is definitely an official sort of
Yeah,
like
see
designation.
that's the problem. Is this log line it was hard to match it up with some of these other little tidbits of information.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but it looks interesting, and I feel like if the next trailer down the line doesn't deter me, I'll definitely be seeing it.
Well, I'd like to see a trailer that actually shows something.
Yeah, like maybe action or something.
Or like not just someone walking.
Yeah, or like walking through some. I mean, it's like they're cool images and like.
I mean, I get it. That's an old school style teaser
Yeah.
because it's less than a minute and it just sort of says this is a thing, and here's some basic information, and gives you an idea maybe of like the tone or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it doesn't really give you much.
Right.
So moving along, we got a Superfly trailer.
Yeah.
A remake from the original Superflies getting an update where it now takes place in ATL.
It sure does. And this one, the trailer for this time around, it looks pretty ridiculous. But I mean, it could be a good time. Who knows?
I think it looks fine. I don't think it looks like it really sets itself apart from other gangster movies. It's kind of got the typical shots. It's like, we had it all. We had money being thrown around, strip clubs. We were shooting things.
We had drag races and fancy cars, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, it looks mostly like a lot of gangster movies. I think the Atlanta aspect could help.
Yeah.
Atlanta's been getting used a lot.
Yeah.
For location. So
there's some people in the cast that I like. I like Michael Kenneth Williams a lot. He's pretty awesome. Jason Mitchell's in it from Straight Outta Compton, and also I believe Rick Ross is in this.
Is he?
Yes. So I'm. You know what? I'm there.
Yeah, I can work
check
with
it
that.
out.
Who's the director?
His name is Director X.
Okay, I'm gonna ask again. What's the director's name?
Well, it's Director X. That is his name. That is his.
You're not joking.
No, that's his name. He's a music video director.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of work in obviously this realm of music, like hip hop, and recently like rap music, obviously.
And you know what? If this is, at least decent, I'll forgive him the weird name. As long as it's better than a McG movie.
Oh man. Yeah.
If we're talking about music video directors who transitioned to directing.
Yeah, that would be much welcomed if he could make something better than a McG movie.
Yeah. All right, moving right along into the Badlands season 3 new trailer.
Yeah.
Have you seen this show?
I've seen it in passing. My brother watches it religiously, and I've seen some of the episodes, and they're pretty ridiculous.
They're pretty. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of something I watch in the same way you'd watch, those Saturday morning shows, like the Kevin Sorbo Hercules.
Oh, yeah.
It sort of has that vibe. It just has a little more filler, which bugs me a bit.
Yeah.
But these fight scenes are so good. It makes it completely worth it, even though normally I can't stand the filler.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for this because it looks like they're really expanding the universe in which the show takes place in.
Mm-hmm.
Because they do a lot of that in the first season, and I guess part of the second season they mention all these other places, and you kind of are left wondering, well, when are you guys going to go to these places?
Right.
So now there's a bigger excuse to involve more locations, and it looks like there's a lot of big battles, like huge, almost Braveheart style, epic scenes with a lot of extras and stuff.
Right.
So it looks like it's going to be a bigger production this time around.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of it. So our next story is it's seeming that there's going to be some role reprisals happening in the upcoming Captain Marvel film from the MCU. We're going to have Lee Pace, Clark Gregg, and Djimon Hounsou coming back, reprising their roles as Ronan the Accuser, Phil Coulson, and Korath.
Okay.
How are you feeling about those additions to that cast? Because this is, of course, a prequel. It's taking place in the 90s. That explaining why they're back.
I was going to say, it seems like it's going to explore maybe some of these characters' origins a little more, which I guess I'm fine with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super attached to any of them, but
Right.
I like Djimon Hounsou a lot.
Yeah.
He's good in things, even when the things he's in aren't good themselves.
Yeah.
Such as Never Back Down.
Yeah.
He's great as the teacher.
Yeah,
he's
he
very
is.
believable.
He's in a lot of stuff. But here's a question I have. Are you worried it's going to get a little cluttered, villain-wise?
No, because I think there's a chance that this might just be a flashback or
A cameo?
yeah, because I think Marvel's smart about that. They know how to give things the appearance that they're extremely crowded.
Yeah.
When in reality, they are crowded, but they know how to divvy up characters' screen time so that really the focus is on 2 or 3 characters.
Right.
Also, isn't this... I heard something about it might involve the Skrull-Kree War.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a big, I guess, point in the film's story, maybe even the backdrop.
Yeah, see, I thought that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a whole Avengers movie itself.
Yeah.
And who knows? That might be part of 4.
Yeah.
For all we know. It's just weird, though, because I thought Skrulls were at Fox for some reason.
Well, I mean, who knows now with, the whole...
Yeah, we could spend the rest of the podcast talking about how the rights seem to mean nothing at all in some cases. But yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this news is fine with me. Again, I don't think it's going to be too crowded. All right, moving along. We got some unfortunate news, I guess.
Yes.
It basically explains where the hell is the Friday the 13th sequel?
Mm-hmm.
Someone might ask. Well, I've got an answer. Apparently, the rights to that movie have been tied up to a number of different companies, and the producers actually explained that there had been an ongoing legal battle that's still going.
Between them and the original screenwriter, right? Victor Miller?
I think so.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of problems going on, because if I'm not mistaken, they've come very close to getting the green light and having stuff ready to go to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
And again, horror movies, even a big budget horror movie, does not take nearly as long as like a Harry Potter or a Marvel or Star Wars movie to film.
That's true.
And it's kind of a shame because they can get so close, yet so far. Yeah. Especially with slashers. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on this? What do you got?
I liken this to a lot of the legal battles going on with like James Bond, because the rights for that have been tossed around and, dribbled all over the place for like the past 40 years. But I think that if anything that's allowed, rights being handed over has allowed different people to take a look at a property like Bond and give it an interesting spin. So maybe, I don't know, who knows if this sort of legal thing will end up with an interesting take on Friday the 13th. I just hope something happens with it. I hope this doesn't become like an ongoing development hell like dance where it's just like, oh, they got the rights. Oh, nope, they got the rights now. Oh, no, there's a countersuit. There's this countersuit. It's like, I just want a movie. Like, give me a damn movie out of this,
That's kind of how I feel about it, except with James Bond, it was at MGM for a long time, I thought.
Well,
and then they went bankrupt.
Yeah, and it was like reverted to Eon, like the Broccoli family or whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, it's pretty clear that Sony's had it for a while.
Right. But this is definitely, it seems like the future here is even more uncertain.
This is way more uncertain since the last Friday the 13th was 2009, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, that's what I thought. So it's been a long time, I guess. Well, for horror movies, that's ages.
Yeah.
Especially with the way things get redone, rebooted, prequeled, sequeled, etc., etc.
Yeah, another thing that's interesting here is that it's not as though the interest in Friday the 13th has stagnated. It's like we had that video game that came out.
Yeah, and that was really popular, I thought.
Yeah, so there's definitely still interest in the franchise.
Yeah, it's just a shame that these legal battles, unlike others, it seems like it could be a while before they could really be solved.
Yeah.
But hey, listeners, are you tired of us giving bad news and talking about nothing but comic book movies? Well, this next piece of news is both bad and about comic book movies.
Yeah.
Get this. Dark Phoenix, the next X-Men proper movie, and New Mutants are both delayed by a lot.
Yeah, which sucks because there was a certain point when both of these films were supposed to come out this year. I think New Mutants was supposed to come out in April and Dark Phoenix was supposed to come out in Q4. While
I think it was November, right?
Yeah. Now these are pushed back at least by a year. We have February 14th is when Dark Phoenix is going to be coming out, and then New Mutants is August 2nd. And some of you might be asking, holy God, from April of 2018 to August of 2019 is a massive delay. Well, it seems as though that movie is like almost being entirely reshot.
Hey, but don't worry. The last time that happened, it turned out great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, but all kidding aside, I don't know. I think that's probably not a good sign.
No, at least, I mean...
Not for New Mutants. I think the delay for Dark Phoenix is almost, like, beside the point.
Yeah, that's, you know what, if they can't get it out, they only moved it. It was supposed to come out in November, right?
Yeah, they moved it a couple months.
That's fine.
And the reason was because they have to do a little bit of reshoots, but regular reshoots.
Yeah, I get that.
But the problem was the actors' schedules didn't allow for them to do reshoots until it would be kind of late.
Yeah, and
to release it in November.
Jennifer Lawrence and Michael Fassbender are busy people and such.
Yes. So because of that, they decided to move the final release date so they could add effects and edit the new scenes properly.
Right. And I get that. That definitely is fine. But the New Mutants thing, I'm hearing all sorts of things from, like, they want to reshoot it so that they want to fix the tone, they want to change the ending.
I keep hearing them say things like, we want it to be scarier. And I keep thinking to myself, okay, I don't care what you say. Oh no, this is a Marvel movie, but it's different, man.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. It's still a comic book movie.
Yeah.
So quit acting like you're making the next Exorcist.
Yeah.
It won't be that scary, no matter what you do.
Yeah. I'm very bummed and also just not angry, but I'm confused. Like, I don't understand how, because this was supposed to come out like in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we were supposed to be seeing this movie very shortly, but I'm gonna be honest. I saw the teaser and this was a legit teaser. It actually showed multiple scenes, and I was just not digging it at all.
Yeah,
and I at this point now, again, since I'm already biased, since I'm already sort of not feeling it,
right,
this doesn't help someone like me get on board.
Right. I wasn't necessarily not on board, but I wasn't thrilled by the teaser. I thought it looked okay. But everything I've just been hearing about it and all this news piling up and compounding, I'm not very confident.
Neither am I. I think Dark Phoenix should be probably pretty good.
I mean, I'm one of the few people that liked Apocalypse a lot, and if it's anything as good, if it's like baseline as good as that, I'll be fine.
Yeah,
if it's entertaining, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't like Apocalypse as much as you, but I thought it was fine.
Right.
All right, so that's enough raining on people's parades, especially if they're X-Men fans. Up next, a new trailer for the Scott Adkins movie called Dead Collector came out. It looks like Scott Adkins' action movie.
It does.
You got anything else to say about it?
Not quite.
Neither do I. All right, moving on. We got some late to the party news. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned this on here already, but the Child's Play series will get, indeed, an 8th installment in the franchise. However, there's a catch. What is that catch, you might ask? 8-part miniseries in the form of 1-hour episodes, and it'll be a direct continuation, i.e. sequel, of the current Chucky series.
Okay. That's an interesting move. Is there any insight as to the platform they wanted to host this miniseries on?
I'm not sure. My guess would probably be Netflix because they released the last 2 movies on Netflix.
That's a good point.
What was it?
If this were 2006, I would suggest FearNet. But
man, FearNet. I miss those days.
Oh, yeah.
From what I've read, it sounds like Don Mancini's series creator has talked about Netflix and that he's got a good relationship going with them. So that would be my best guess.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have no idea where this would go.
Yeah, I think Netflix is the move for them. Yeah, it's interesting to see. There hasn't been so much horror TV on Netflix.
Kinda Stranger Things?
Sorta. But even that is like more like, Goonies-esque or like,
I haven't seen it. I just hear everyone talk about it, and everyone says, "Oh, if you're a horror fan, check out Stranger Things."
Yeah.
And at some point, I will.
Yeah. But there might be horror type TV shows on Netflix, but I know there aren't slashers.
Yeah, not that I can think of.
Yeah.
I don't know. You didn't see the last Chucky movie, did you?
I did not.
Okay.
I'm in my backlog.
Okay. Well, the ending is completely bonkers. The last one was called Cult of Chucky.
Right.
The ending was completely insane, and I just can't say too much without giving it away. But I'm very interested to know where this is going next.
Okay, I feel that. All right, so that does it for our news segment. Moving on to our review portion. Alex, I think you and I both caught the same movie this weekend, Steven Soderbergh's Unsane.
Sure did.
That movie, of course, starring Claire Foy, Jay Farrow, Juno Temple, Amy Irving, amongst others. It's interesting. Sometimes I'll hear people say things about Soderbergh like, he's just not for me. And I'm like, really? This guy's not for you. I'm looking at his filmography right now. He has done so many different movies. Like, he'll have movies like The Informant, which is like basically just a flat-out comedy. Ocean's 11, the trilogy, which is like a crime caper. Traffic, which is like a straight drama. And then this, which is basically a horror thriller in ways. I would say in many ways. So whenever I hear someone say like, "Oh, he's not for me," it's like, really? Like, go through his movies and pick one, because there's got to be something for you. He's done so much, and this is another, I thought, really good testament to that, and I really ended up liking it. I don't know how you felt.
I also enjoyed this quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to get back to your point about, oh, he's not for me, I think part of that has to do with people just might not be aware of what he's directed.
Right, he has so much under his name that I feel like people just were unaware of.
I'm a big fan of The Limey as well.
Right, that's another one. That's just like a completely different like movie from like Solaris, which is like another movie he did, like a sci-fi remake.
Has he done horror before?
I don't think so. I know he's done like some surrealist type comedy.
Like Schizopolis?
Yeah. Or like Kafka has some like, it's not a horror, but like it's about Kafka, so it's going to be weird. But I don't think he's ever really approached like a straight up horror. And in many ways, I wouldn't necessarily say this is.
Right.
I would say this starts out as a drama and it morphs into a thriller and then becomes a horror movie. But it is very much, I would say at the very least, a thriller with horror elements in it. And it does all those elements really well, I thought. I thought the story was really solid.
It kind of reminded me in some ways of Green Room.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Green Room is you're introduced to these characters, and in a weird way, you kind of feel like you're there with them, or sort of in their shoes, because it starts off, this is the punk band,
right?
And you kind of get into their world, but it's done in such a almost hyper-realistic way, and this manages to do that again, because you get into her routine, her office life, and her lack thereof, in this case, of a social life.
Right.
And you can sympathize with her, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those crazy movies where it starts off so normal and so in real life, and then the situation just spirals completely out of control.
Yeah, no, there's some things are afoot in this movie. There's some affootery in this thing.
Oh, for sure. And we'll get into the specifics of that affootery and spoilers.
Yes.
But right now we're just talking the generals of the movie.
Right. One of the big, of course, discussion points of this movie was the fact that it was shot on an iPhone. And there were some things said by Steven Soderbergh that I don't know how I necessarily felt about him. Like, he said things like, I don't think the general public will notice a difference between like this and like, a movie shot on an Alexa or a Red or any other like professional camera. And like, I don't know if I agree with that, but I definitely didn't mind the stylistic choice. I thought that you can tell that there's a director there. There'll be like yes, the footage will look grainy and it'll look like, it's shot probably on a phone or something like a prosumer app or whatever. But like Steven Soderbergh's directorial skill is there. Like his, you can tell him being like, okay, where would be a cool place to put a camera in this room, to film this action that the characters are doing. Like, what's a weird angle we could do for this scene, and it felt, I thought I liked it.
Yeah, I don't really think the iPhone made that much difference to me.
Right.
I think there are certain shots that I noticed, but who's to say that everyone else will or won't?
Yeah.
I think there's a couple that even a general audience could realize looks a bit off for one reason or another. But to me, that's almost like beside the point, because you can say it was filmed on an iPhone, but he used probably legit sound equipment, lighting, color correction,
lenses.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I'm pretty sure he edited it all on his phone.
Yeah.
Just imagine a guy just sitting at like a Starbucks, and he's just hyperactively just moving his finger along his phone. It's like, what are you doing? And he just says, "Shut up! I'm editing a feature film."
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, I didn't think that really made much of a difference. I think it's cool that he did it, is more the point. But it almost seems like that novelty has no direct purpose, I guess.
That's what I also felt. Like, if you were to ask me, like, well, does it serve the story well? It's like, I guess. Like, it does feel kind of like you're watching, like, hidden camera footage, like, especially after she is committed to the facility.
Right.
But if you were to ask me, like, could I see this movie made any other way? It's like, yeah, like, this movie could have totally been shot on a regular camera.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like End of Watch, where it's like the camera has a specific purpose. It's like, oh, these are body cam footage, like
basically,
like edited together.
Yeah.
This is just kind of like, I felt like it was like Steven Soderbergh saying, like, well, let me see if I can do that, and he did it very well. But it's the story for me that really sold it, not necessarily the camera work.
I think there are certain shots, because you know how iPhone pictures sometimes have that sort of bulging effect.
Oh, like the fisheye type deal.
Yeah, but you know, it does it just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that was sort of present in this movie a little bit. Mm-hmm. And in a way, again, because the movie is, of course, about a woman who is wrongfully committed to a psych ward, and little does she know that her stalker from a former life is working there under a new name. Mm-hmm. So I think that the paranoia and the general fear of the situation, the bulging shots did kind of work in some aspects.
Yeah.
But again, you could do that with a number of different type of lenses, and it doesn't have to be an iPhone. But overall, the iPhone thing didn't really distract me.
No, it was, I likened it to, like, Hardcore Henry, though not to the degree of Hardcore Henry, but if you make it through the first 10 minutes, you're probably going to be fine. You'll probably get into a rhythm where you get the visual language that's being thrown at you.
Let me tell you this. By the time the credits rolled around, by the time the last couple of scenes were going, the iPhone thing completely was not on my mind.
Yeah, it's at the back of your mind, because the movie goes places where you're like, oh man, you're like, we're going to this place, okay.
There's also a lot of scenes that I felt were similar to a stage play.
Yeah.
Just a couple people having a real intense conversation.
Yeah, a lot of scenes where there's just two characters in a room talking.
Right. And we'll get in the nitty-gritty specifics of that in just a little bit. But what did you think about the acting overall?
I thought Claire Foy was really good, despite the fact that her accent slips a lot.
Yeah, that was kind of annoying me. I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
Because I was really enjoying the movie, but I can't not notice that the accent was going in and out.
It was, and I at one point I even gave her, like, a slight benefit of a doubt, but then I pulled it away. Like, I know they said, like, she was from Boston or something, but I'm like, no.
Yeah, but her accent slip sounds like like she's either trying to hide a British accent or that she's from New Jersey.
Yeah, and it's like the like textbook British accent type stuff. Like her hard R's turn into like there was one word where I think it was the word opportunity, where she said, like, opportunity, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that.
That accent kind of just reminds me of Mr. Feeney.
Oh,
Mr. Matthews, gonna have to try a little harder to pass my class.
Yeah. And that was, I feel like it's weird that it's not a big deal, because that normally you'd be like, well, if the accent's wrong, then what did you like about it? It's like, I thought emotionally the performance was pretty perfect. Like,
right.
It felt authentic enough for me to, like, even overlook the accent, which is weird. Like, that's a huge thing.
I think the one thing she brought to her character specifically was the flawed person.
Right.
Because her character is far from perfect.
Right.
For a number of reasons. And again, we'll discuss in spoilers in just a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what made this appealing, and again, why I thought it was more grounded.
Mm-hmm. I also thought, talking about other performances now, I was really surprised by Jay Farrow, who has a pretty sizable role in this. He has a lot to do, aside from be funny, which I think most people would associate him with. And he does well at, I would say, pretty much all of it.
I didn't even realize it was him till the credits rolled.
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking, this guy looks so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, it's not something I watch often.
Yeah.
Or maybe at all. But he's familiar. I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Saturday Night Live.
Right. That's the guy with the Denzel impression or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's none of that in here. No Denzel or Eddie Murphy impressions. He's just good all by himself, like just being an actor and being funny at, reading the dialogue he has.
You know who else was good? Was the Stalker.
Oh, yeah, Joshua Leonard, I think, plays him. He's an original cast member from Blair Witch Project, actually.
There's one thing about him, and this is not on his fault at all.
Yeah.
To me, he looks so much like Eric Wareheim from Tim and Eric when he has a beard.
Yeah.
It was so distracting for a lot of scenes for me.
Yeah. Gave it a little bit of a different tone, even.
Well, especially, yeah, honestly. And because his inflection is pretty similar as well.
Yeah.
But that was so distracting to me. I kept thinking, like, wow, is this like the sequel to the Angel Boy episode?
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, he's great for, I guess, other spoilerific reasons also.
Fuck it. Let's talk about spoilers. I give up.
Let's go full steam ahead into spoilers.
Okay, so we talked about the directing. It's great. The editing, the this, the that. Everything's great. Okay, spoiler time.
Yeah.
Wow. Where do we even start? First of all, I thought all the bit characters were actually really good at making this all come to life.
Yeah.
The nurse, because when she's, she kind of comes off as, I'm in charge, and you just have to listen to me because
very condescending.
Yeah, because I know, but it's also I know because I know that you can't control your life.
Yeah,
that's her view on all the patients.
Yeah,
and what part I thought was kind of crazy with her. So, the part where the stalker guy gives Claire Foy's character Sawyer, that's her name, right?
Yeah, Sawyer Valentini.
Yeah. She gives Sawyer the wrong meds, so she has a psychotic breakdown.
Or the right meds, depending on how you're looking at it in this guy's situation, right?
Whoa, man. Yeah. But anyway, point I'm trying to make is when she is counting the pills or whatever with stalker guy, I don't give a fuck what his name is.
David, I think it was. Strine is his last name?
Sure. Yeah, David, whatever. Yeah. Stalker guy, she says, oh, we had the wrong pills given today. Mm-hmm. So she's trying to be so authoritarian, and then behind the scenes, she's just a complete idiot, and she's completely incompetent.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily... What I liked about it was, it didn't come off as she's just a bad, shitty person. It came off as she's just an idiot and shouldn't be working this job.
Right. I thought a lot of the hospital staff people were just great. Like that one psychiatrist who's just like... It's such a shit. Like you said, it's just very stupid. Like he's always like checking his phone, like waiting for the call.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
Using like buzzwords, like what does he say? Like at the end of every meeting, like okay, to be continued. And it's like fuck. And like the administrative like HR lady, or like she's like the owner, right?
Yeah.
She sucked also, but in a good way. Like I was like, oh god, I hate you. Like she's just super condescending and like.
She, to me, though, seemed like she was more egregious.
Oh, yeah, especially at the end.
Because the nurse, again, she seemed like she's just sort of a misled individual who's had a rough go at it. But the administrator, she just sucked. She was so...
Because you have that scene with her and Amy Irving where she's, like, going over it. Like, it felt really genuine. Like, it's really important that blah, blah, blah. And, like, you hate her, but you're like... she's trying to kill the audience's sentiments here with kindness. But then you have that scene at the end where, like, the orderlies or whatever find Jay Farrow's notebook.
And then she just keeps it.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm glad you brought this to my attention. And I'm like, you...
that's when
it's a great scene.
Right, but that's also when you realize she keeps it, that's when it becomes clear that she's an asshole.
Yeah.
That she is a power-hungry, bad person.
That and just... I guess that is an entire... that whole plot thread, the Jay Farrow, him being revealed to be a reporter like on the inside, and just like his one of my favorite like bits is the one where he's talking to Claire Foy and he's kind of just like breaking down like what he thinks is going on, like with the insurance companies and like them, holding her just enough so that the insurance can cover her and stuff like that. And I'm like, it was a real like come to Jesus moment where I'm just like listening to this and I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh God, I hope this isn't actually how shit is, because it's like it makes you think. You're like, God, is this how fucking psychiatric wards like operate, or like some of them, even not even all of them, just like one or two?
I'm sure there's been ones that do shitty things. That's like everything. It's like how the fuck should I know?
Right. No, but it's like
I don't know. I that's one thing. I was a little worried about that scene. I'm like, how far is this going?
Right.
I don't need to, like, it was already an engaging enough idea. It's like, wouldn't this suck? Like, to me, that's what a good thriller is. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't this suck? Just that simple phrase should describe it. And I was a little worried that he was, like, that scene, he was talking, I'm like, okay, fine. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how long is he going to keep going? Mm-hmm. And they cut it off. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, no, it was...
You made the cutoff before it was starting to get annoying.
Yeah, it's just enough to, like, plant the idea in your head. Like, what if this is going on? And I'm like, oh, like, I don't want that.
It's just like, yeah, I get it. Now shut up and get along with the fucking plot.
And when that happens, it gets even better, because we obviously see the boyfriend, or the opposite of the boyfriend, the stalker.
Yeah, quite the exact opposite.
Yeah. He shows up, and his plan is kind of brilliant. It's like, what better chance to like hide in plain sight than in a psychiatric ward where people, the person who's going to be threatening me, everyone's going to just think that she's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a brilliant plan, and it's like, it's scary. It's like you really feel helpless for this character. Like every time she's like, fuck you, like, and he shows her like the mail, or like she shows him like, or she shows like the orderlies like the photo of like what is it, the one, what does he send her on her phone or whatever? Is it like a photo of like her mom or something? Oh no, it's a photo of Jay Farrow dead, or like strapped to that chair.
Yeah.
And like she's like trying to show the orderlies, and like, you can't have a phone in here. And I'm like, it's frustrating in a good way. You're like, oh, you idiots! Just give her a goddamn minute.
It's like it's right there.
Yeah, it's really good like that. I enjoyed how the movie toyed with that whole dynamic.
Yo, hold up, we got backpedal. So we were talking about acting. We forgot a very, very good bit part in this.
Oh, yeah.
Juno Temple.
I didn't even know she was in the movie until I saw her. I was like, oh, because I knew Jay Farrow was going to be in it. Yeah. I was like, oh, Juno Temple. And I was like, 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh, Juno Temple. Like, she has a great role, man. She's
something else at this whole acting thing, I got to say. Because again, I was like, oh, shit, I forgot she was in this. That happened. Right. I knew, but I suddenly remembered when she came on screen. But after maybe about 30 seconds, completely separated the actor from the character.
You forget that she's on screen after that.
She's beyond creepy in this.
Yeah, and they do a great... She's basically not even a big part of the movie, except for one thing, obviously the Shiv scene. She's basically there as a plant and payoff, but she's a great character. And that plant and payoff, by the way, is...
That's one thing I thought was crazy, too, is... So Sawyer had to lure her in there when she's put in solitary.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I felt weird about that. Cause like, that was a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Obviously, she didn't intend on her getting murdered out of it. I guess it was just like, I'm going to stab this dude and he's going to, get out. But yeah, that scene, like leading up to that is like, it's weird because you're like, she's like, yeah, I want you to prove that you love me. I want you to do this in front of me or whatever. And I'm like, what's going on? Because at this point I forgot about the Shiv. I'll admit it. Like, they got me
completely.
They got me, and like when that happened, I was like, right, that's fucking But they got me.
What's funny is at the end how I was talking about how they completely show that Sawyer.
Yeah.
Sawyer isn't perfect. Mm-hmm. Then the very ending, she's just like out with their friend, and it just says, "Oh, by the way, you're fired."
Yeah.
And she has this look on her face like she is just so done with everything.
Yeah. Oh man, it's a very solid film, and I sadly didn't have a very great showing. I don't know if it opened very wide, but obviously not a lot of people saw it.
I don't know that it was really talked about much until right up up to it about
Yeah, it
a
didn't
week
have
or two before. I saw a lot of ads on TV.
Yeah, but not a lot of build up in terms of conversation.
But didn't he kind of make this sort of in secret?
I don't know. I know it's definitely been, his movies have been way more lower key since he went off, since he came back from hiatus and has stopped making movies with studios.
After he stopped living off the grid using solar power.
Yeah.
So solar panels. And...
Right. Oh, man. I think everything he's made, I mean, granted, 2 is a small sample size, but every movie he's made since his hiatus has been dynamite. Like, I fucking loved Logan Lucky. Like, I thought
still
that
need
movie
to
was,
see that.
Oh, I loved it. And this is very good.
What would you give it? What score are you giving it?
I know it sounds like it's going to be a little low. That's because I haven't necessarily gone into my problems with it. I'd give it a 7.5. 7.5 out of 10, which is
7.5.
Yeah. I thought that there was some, the music was a little
whatever.
Yeah, it didn't. I felt like it didn't even need it.
What do you think about the whole ending sequence with all the chase and her getting taken in the car and the cabin and all that?
I liked it. I liked it. It's weird, creepy.
Wasn't it a little repetitive of the solitary confinement?
Yeah, like I felt like that was where it was going to end. I do agree with that. But that whole thing does answer like the, what happened to the mom, and
yeah,
and like they do the interesting thing with like her, him or her stabbing him in the eye with the cross. Or whatever.
I thought symbolism and stuff. Man.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
So 7.5.
Yeah, it's really, and it's been growing on me too, so that score could potentially go up. I know you were a lot more high on it than I was.
I really like this. I'm not quite sure if I'd give it a perfect score yet.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely good to see a movie doing. I mean, there's not enough of these. It's some of the plot threads, like if you've seen
it's not
Shudder,
a happy movie.
Yeah, no, like
let's just put that out there. There's been a lot of depressing ass but good movies.
Yeah. Thoroughbreds,
Red Sparrow was also really good.
Yes.
A lot of depressing ass movies coming out lately. They're very good. You know what? Because if this was the first perfect score of the year, I don't know. I'd have to sit on. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with 4.5, only because the ending was a little repetitive to me.
That's still very. I mean, that's
definitely.
That's the shit.
So far, there hasn't been anything that's quite reached a perfect score for me yet this year.
Right.
But this might be my favorite thing I've seen so far.
Yeah, this is definitely up there for me. I honestly don't know if I've seen anything better like that's come out this year, because like there were some Oscar movies that were like, they came out technically.
Yeah, because Lady Bird was my favorite thing I've seen this whole year. However, again, 2017 release date doesn't count.
Yeah. I get that. That's always weird when that happens. But this is definitely the best thing I've seen in a while, like in a few weeks. Definitely.
I thought this is probably I would say this is tied for Thoroughbreds for my favorite thing I've seen so far this year.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's playing anywhere near you, listener, check it out. I mean, it's really worth the watch. It's an interesting study of like, so this is also a way that people can make movies, and like, there's some interesting plot threads we've already talked about. Hopefully you didn't hear the whole spoiler thing, but if you did, forget it. You might as well check it out either way, because it's a good movie nonetheless, and it's got good performances, really solid story with great twists and turns. Soderbergh is
classic Soderbergh green and brownish
Yeah.
lighting.
Oh yeah, a lot of piss filter.
Yes,
it's like
just the whole world just sucks in this movie, and the world of this movie is a terrible place, and he emulates that well.
Oh yeah, Soderbergh's back.
All right, yeah. So go see Unsane.
Yeah, good job, Steven Soderbergh. Unsane's a good flick. Oh yeah, we're doing sound effects now. I feel like it's an appropriate turn. So Alex, you ended up seeing another movie. I think we mentioned it last week. Tomb Raider.
Yes, sir.
Roar Uthaug's Tomb Raider. I guess, how did you end up feeling about that film overall?
It was okay, but I would say between okay and pretty good.
Okay.
I would say that if people are expecting this to be the movie to forever change the face of video game movies and break the supposed video game curse, this, it does, but it doesn't really.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I can name 3 video game movies I like better.
Yeah.
But that's because they're terrible movies that are just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And this definitely, the parts that are bad, they just suck. They're not like a laughable bad.
Okay.
But the parts that are good are actually pretty well done. Overall, I would say standouts are the acting is pretty solid for the most part, especially out of Alicia Vikander as Laura and Walt Goggins as the bad guy. His name's Vogel or something. Action scenes, for the most part, are all done pretty well. I'd say a lot of the problems probably lie in the script and maybe some of the directing. And there's a couple of times where pacing lags just a little bit, but overall, I would say it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple questions for you. Speaking of Into the Badlands, how was Daniel Wu in this?
Oh, horribly underutilized.
Really?
Barely in it. And when he does fight people, it's mostly gun fu kind of pistol whipping.
Ah, okay.
You don't see a lot of his martial arts skills.
That sucks.
I mean, there's one scene towards the beginning where Laura's being chased around by some ruffians on the docks in Hong Kong.
Okay.
And he does a little bit there, but overall he's fine in it. It's just he's not utilized a lot, and he's not really in it that much.
That's sad. How were the puzzles? I'd imagine there were some.
The puzzles were pretty good. I like the puzzles.
Really?
They were... I mean, they're fine. Like, puzzles are... It's hard to do those wrong in movies.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to have some cool things, some cool set pieces, some sort of involvement of ancient deities and keys and locks and all that kind of crazy crap. And this did it... I mean, again, it's fine. It's just like everything else.
Yeah, that was another question I had you touched on. So I'm imagining there's a supernatural element in this.
How do I say it? Well,
I mean, it's a, most treasure hunter movies have it, maybe not, without spoiling it, does it make the movie, break the movie? Is it fine? Is it bad?
Okay, the supernatural element, without saying too much about it specifically, it's sort of used as a twist at the end. So, without saying too much, it doesn't really make or break the movie, because at that point you were either kind of on board or not.
Okay.
It's not something that's going to make or break your enjoyment. However, I do think it was handled semi-poorly.
Yeah.
But apparently, if you've played the game, it's similar to that. I've watched some Let's Play videos of the new games, and they all look awesome.
Yeah.
But I have not watched them extensively to know the ending.
Okay. Nick Frost cameo, is it still in the film?
He's the dude from all the
Edgar Wright
yeah.
things? Yeah. He's still in it?
Yeah, he's great. I liked his part. It's small. It's
okay.
Just a couple tiny scenes, but when he is on screen, he's fine. And again, just like with Daniel Wu's character, I kind of wish there was more of him.
Yeah.
Not that there needed to be a ton of him, but his character, just in the small instances he was there, just felt like a well-developed character.
Okay. So this is kind of specific, but so in the trailer you have that scene where he's Nick Frost is like selling her firearms or whatever, and she's like, "I'll take 2," and it's like really campy.
Oh, that line is terrible, and it doesn't work with the rest of the movie.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it in tune with the rest of the movie? Is
No.
the movie pretty campy, or is it just like out of nowhere, like this is
not
dumb?
at all?
Okay, good.
The one thing that I would say maybe people weren't expecting as much as Laura's character is like sort of a bit of a smartass at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not just the generic stoic video game character.
Okay.
So she's a tiny bit quirky, not in the Eagle versus Shark or whatever the hell that movie is quirky, or Wes Anderson quirky, but she's a little more.
She's a personality.
Yeah, she has more personality. She's a little more three-dimensional.
Okay.
But when she says that, it almost feels like, let's pander to the people who liked the first 2.
Yeah, that's what that felt like to me too. And then
without saying too much, you know what? Fuck it. minor spoiler.
Okay.
Do you care if I mention this?
Not really.
It's right at the end. It's like the it's the post-credit scene.
See, you know what? It felt like it to me. Like it felt like an Easter egg, you know? Like something you'd put in a post-credit scene, or like the scene right before like that scene, like that line would be like, "I'll take 2, cut to, directed by Roar Uthog," like that bullshit.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that too was, you know how my rule is, I only start tacking off points or taking points off if you go over 5 stupid lines.
Okay.
The rest of the script, for the most part, the problems I had, again, it wasn't the dialogue was ever like cheesy or awful or like whatever.
It's pretty plain.
I would say it was pretty plain, so there wasn't a lot of laughably bad, but that was kind of like, it wasn't even laughably bad, it was just cringy. It was just, why?
So my final question is, do we get any good tomb death scenes, like Indiana Jones-esque, like dudes getting hit by like flying spikes and
hell yeah,
boulders and shit?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, good. I like me those.
There's a good chunk of that. And as you could imagine, the movie, it sort of takes place a decent bit, starts off, she's in England or whatever, and she doesn't want to take her father's inheritance because she's too proud or whatever.
Right.
And then there's another chunk, which is getting there to the island, and then the final chunk, as you could imagine, is in the tombs.
Right.
The problem, I think, is they spent a little too much time with the setup in England and at the part with the island.
Okay.
Because once they're on the island, it does take a little while for the action to start.
Okay.
And then the tomb stuff is all pretty good.
That's good.
But it's just, I feel like the problem was, how do I put this? The amount of time spent in each chapter, if you will. Mm-hmm. It varied, and there's times where there wasn't enough of something, and there's times when there's too much of other things.
Okay, so it sounds like it's a enjoyable, if imbalanced and kind of uneven movie.
So that was the thing, is my initial impression upon leaving the theater, I couldn't help but think this. I thought, if they'd chosen a better director, this probably would have been a better movie.
Yeah.
Because the script, again, was not terrible, but definitely this guy, Roar Uthog, who's directed nothing of note that I've heard of, at least.
Yeah, I think he directed a movie called The Wave. It's like a disaster film or something.
And to his credit, this is completely competent and watchable.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think that if these studios making video game movies, if they really want to get people on board, they should choose someone with some sort of record, whether it be on TV or previous movies.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the name of the game, and that's all it takes, really. I mean, we saw that with comic book movies. Is it just takes a director like a Nolan or a Favreau to come along who actually gives a shit about the material to really transfer that to the general audience, not just the comic fans, or in this case, the video gamers. But yeah, I'm glad it's not terrible. Like, that was something that I was really worried about. I was really worried it was going to be like unwatchably boring or just bad.
No, definitely not. And that, as I mentioned before, the action scenes are all pretty good.
That's good.
I especially liked the bow and arrow stuff.
Nice.
All the archery stuff is cool, and I would say they did a good job of using the location for the action to make sense.
So where does it take place? Like the tropics, or like some kind of like?
It's off. Well, I mean, it was filmed, I think, somewhere. I can't remember where. Somewhere in Southeast Asia, I think.
Okay.
Actually, I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong. It might have been Hawaii, for all I know. But anyway, it takes place in a Japanese island.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know that. I thought it was like Caribbean or like some kind of maybe like South Pacific.
And actually, now that I think about it, the final part in the tomb, they tie that into the Japanese island and the supernatural element. They did a cool job of tying it all together. It's just a matter of the payoff maybe wasn't the best of options.
Okay. But
again, I think that came or at least I think I read somewhere that came directly from the game.
Yeah, I haven't played the recent games, but I know people who have, and they've said it's pretty close.
But again, the stunt work was pretty good, I thought. Yeah. A lot of it looked, for the most part, it looked like they did a lot of practical stunt work.
That's good.
And also, the fight choreography was pretty good.
Okay.
So they used things like a plane fuselage or a waterfall or the fact that she's fighting near a beach shore, rocky cliffs, or whatever. They use the space well and incorporate it into the action.
Nice.
But I have to say, as much as I did like the fight choreography, there's one fight scene that is just fucking awful.
Oh, yeah?
It's the beginning when she's training MMA.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, so a rear naked choke is a move in jiu-jitsu, and everyone's seen it. If you were to Google a picture, everyone would know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a complicated move, but to get it in a standing position while you're squaring up with someone when you start kickboxing is so goddamn hard. And if you try and Google UFC standing rear naked choke, the only time you will find it is if they started on the ground first, and the guy starts getting up but doesn't get rid of the choke.
Okay.
But it literally looked like pro wrestling. In pro wrestling, they just turn each other like, huh!
Yeah.
They just move their hands, and then it's like, oh, I just let you turn me around 180 degrees.
Yeah.
It was like that, but they start off kickboxing. And I don't mean to be one of those people who like points out the little things, but that just annoyed the holy hell out of me.
Mm.
And then Laura gets her in a old-timey headlock. I'm just like, all the girl behind you has to do is lock her hands around you, bear hug you, and then pop you up and throw you down.
Mm.
It was just very awkward, and it's just like, God damn it, come on, guys.
Well.
I'm not an expert on this, but like at all.
Mm-hmm.
But like even I know that that's complete bullshit. Even for a heightened movie, it just doesn't make physical sense.
Yeah.
Because the idea is you can exaggerate things that are possible. That's like how good exaggeration works.
Right.
Not, let's just defy logic entirely.
Well, that sucks that they got that wrong.
Oh, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just one of those things that made me groan and just annoyed me.
Mm.
But overall, that's the thing that I thought was so weird, though. The rest of the fight scenes were great.
Mm-hmm.
There's a particular one where it's her and this guy near a couple puddles.
Mm-hmm.
Very good, and it's sort of a turning point in the movie without saying too much.
Nice.
But that was done very well, and it felt relatively realistic, as did many of the other action scenes.
That's good. I'm glad.
Well, except for the big jumps off the fuselage. But But that was a cool action movie moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that overall it wasn't a horrendous watch.
No, not at all.
And it sounds like it was far from that.
I would give it about a 3 out of 5.
That's good.
Which for a video game movie is like
pretty healthy.
A 6 out of 5.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's good.
But yeah, you know what? I'll say this: it was one of the first video game movies I've seen in a long time that I enjoyed, not in a so bad it's good way.
That's good.
Because as much as I love Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 and Street Fighter and Mario Brothers and even Double Dragon to some extent, I would say I like those movies better than Tomb Raider, but for all the wrong reasons. But if I were to say which is a more quality movie that I think the average moviegoer would like better, probably Tomb Raider. And I would say from this point on, I'm pretty hopeful about sequels.
Really?
I would say there's room for improvement, but it's not a lost cause at all. Which is saying a lot for the average video game movie, so there's hope for the future yet.
Well, even though I didn't see it, good job, Roy Ruthog. You made a decent flick.
Now it's time for a game segment called Guess That Movie Based on the Tagline.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a better name for the game, so fuck it.
That's
all
fine.
right. So, without further ado, Robert, give me my first tagline that I have to guess.
The first casualty of war is innocence.
Ooh, fuck, I think I know this. Is it... And I only get 3 guesses, that's correct, right?
Yes.
Okay. Full Metal Jacket.
No.
What's the other one? Platoon.
Yes,
okay.
It is Platoon.
Okay, cool. That seemed rather obvious.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along. Robert, you ready for your tagline?
Yes.
In space, no one can eat ice cream.
Spaceballs?
No. You got 2 more guesses.
No one can eat ice cream.
Yeah, that's right. It's a takeoff of the Alien tagline.
Yeah, so it's a comedy.
That's correct.
I have no idea. Jason X?
That was a really good guess, but
Okay.
you're also wrong. You give up?
Yeah?
It's Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Jesus.
What you got?
Okay. Well, this one's a little bit easier. The future belongs to the mad.
Ooh, is this The Network?
No.
Okay, so I got 2 more guesses. In the future. Back to the Future?
No.
Okay, I give up.
It's Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, God, that's so obvious. Okay. Well, so we've stumped each other pretty good this time.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, this is one of many listed on IMDb. Ready for this?
Okay.
It's like something from a nightmare.
Nightmare on Elm Street?
That's correct.
Okay, jeez. That was
So I
pretty
thought I'd-
self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, what do you got?
On the air, unaware.
Is this Good Morning Vietnam?
No.
Whew. Shit. On the air, unaware. Oh, Truman Show.
Yes.
Okay. All right, you ready for your next one?
Yes.
Surf's Up. Time to save the world.
Is it Surf Ninjas?
You got it.
Okay. This movie was a movie that you liked. A father makes his own justice.
Oh. Death Wish?
No.
The original one, in case anyone
Yes.
has any sort of confusion.
That counts as 2 guesses, by the way.
Oh, shit, you're right.
just kidding.
No, it counts as 2.
No.
Well, okay, fine.
I'll give you 2 more.
Is it the other Death Wish?
Sadly, no.
Okay. Is it Death Wish 2? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so for real, I've only used one guess.
Yes.
Okay, what is it again?
Father makes his own justice.
Father makes his own justice. Fuck, I don't know.
It is Bloodfather.
Oh, yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
I would never have guessed it off that tagline.
Yeah.
All right, Robert, you ready?
Yes.
He's as fast on the draw as he is in the drawing room.
Fast on the draw. Jesus. Josie Wales?
No.
Is this that one movie, American Splendor?
No.
Hudsucker Proxy? I have no idea.
It is actually Maltese Falcon. Is that the worst tagline you have ever heard in your life?
Jesus. Okay.
What is that even reference specifically in the movie?
I have no idea.
Because it's like he's a quick drawing room. Mm-hmm. What the fuck is that? Okay, so I just looked it up. Apparently, a drawing room is a large room in a private residence where guests can be entertained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds very old-fashioned.
Yeah. All right, give me your next.
This is an easy one. The punishment has begun.
Punisher.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, these are all terrible taglines. Okay, I'm gonna give you all of them in a twist.
Okay.
And see if you can get it. So the first one is, "It's time to save the world. I kid you not."
Okay.
Like that.
Very,
that's
very
literally
specific.
Yeah. I was like, well, what movie could that be? Or
any movie ever made.
like any movie with a bad guy.
Yeah.
Who wants to do bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
Game on. Play for the planet. The world needs heroes. They got these guys.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
Something to do with games? Running Man?
Nope.
The world needs heroes. They got these guys. Fucking Mystery Men?
No, you got Pixels.
Oh, man.
So there you have it. A terrible movie with a terrible tagline.
All right, I got one I think that'll stump you here.
What you got?
Shoot first, sightsee later.
Bird on a Wire?
No.
I don't even know what Bird on a Wire is about. I just guessed that.
Okay.
I don't know.
In Bruges.
That's a good one. And that actually is exactly pretty much what the plot is.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. All right, Robert, time for me to stump you back. Okay. Actually, this is pretty easy. Up there with the best of the best.
Okay,
Three guesses, man. You're on the clock, bro.
Up there with the best of the best. Jesus. American Psycho?
No.
The Natural?
Nope.
Up there with the best of the best. Angels in the Outfield?
No. It was Top Gun.
Oh, okay. I took up there a little too far.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
What do you got? You got any more?
Here's one. This one's really, really difficult.
Okay, go for it.
Fear not the weapon, but the hand that wields it.
Ooh, is this shit? Is this Sum of All Fears?
No.
Huh. Okay. See, this is what's annoying about taglines. Sometimes they're metaphorical and sometimes they're super literal.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just gonna be impossible. Let's see. Book of Eli.
No.
Excalibur, is that a movie? Is there such a movie as Excalibur?
I think so. Is that the King Arthur one? From
Okay, well, it's clear that I got it wrong. What is it?
It's Ninja Assassin.
Oh, man. That's like a really bad one. That's a bad tagline. No. Okay, let me make this clear. That's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Terrible tagline.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Two guys invented a game and turned the sports world upside down.
Oh, basketball.
Damn.
I was like, what the fuck movies
God.
are there about inventing games? I'm like, oh, wait, I know exactly what it is.
Well, you got it. That movie's a classic, by the way.
It sure is.
First time I watched that, I was with a couple of people. We had to pause it because we were just having laughing fits.
Yeah.
We literally paused it just to gather ourselves.
Jesus.
Well, okay, so that does it for this game.
All right, and moving on, we have yet another game. This one's a personal favorite of ours. What movie is this? So we've got two hats set up here. One is a hat of directors, and another is a hat full of actors. We pick one director and two actors, and we have a minute to pitch the movie that we envision that happening with. So without further ado, Alex, would you like to begin?
All right, yes.
Okay.
So I already took my picks. I got Quentin Tarantino's directing, Tom Cruise is actor number 1, and Keith David is actor number 2.
Okay, sounds good. And begin.
Okay, so it's this movie. It's about a prison where Keith David is sent wrongfully for stealing someone's statue of Shrek.
Okay.
So he takes this Shrek statue and he's sent to prison. And while he's in prison, he's like, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna last here. Then Tom Cruise comes out and he's got eye patches on both eyes.
Okay.
Because he's just like that badass or whatever. And he's like a ripoff of Zatoichi.
Okay.
You know, the blind swordsman.
Yeah.
But he's the blind shivsman.
Okay.
And he teaches. It's all about him teaching Keith David how to be badass.
Okay.
Even though Keith David is gigantic. And could probably stomp him. So yeah, the movie is called Eye Patch Prison.
Okay. I like that.
All right, Robert, your turn. What do you got?
All right, so I picked Wes Anderson as director and The Rock and Gabrielle Union for actors.
Oh, man. Okay. You have a minute starting now.
All right, so this is a movie about The Rock. He's a mortician at a funeral home named Gomer, and he meets and falls in love with a woman named Alicia, whose husband just died, and is having the funeral there, and it's all weird and quirky because it's like, oh man, her husband just died and she's fallen in love with the mortician. Ew, gross. But then it's like all quirky and stuff because it's like, you know, she like has this big blow up during the wake and she's like yelling at her family like, don't judge me, I do what I want, blah blah blah, shit like that. And so the movie is going to end up being about 90 minutes long, and it's going to be really good and funny and a good coming of age, or maybe not coming of age because Gabrielle Union's she's relatively of age. It's called Life in the Mortuary.
All right, time's up. So Life in the Mortuary.
Yes.
And that's like another thing quirky movies love to do now. Let's take something morbid and make it fun.
Yeah.
All right,
Alex. Your picks are in.
Okay, I got Steven Spielberg in the directing chair. Sounds pretty obvious. Will Smith and Anna Kendrick.
Okay, I like that. All right, ready?
Yep.
Begin.
Okay, so it's a movie about Anna Kendrick plays this adorable girl, as always. And she's the sweat wiper at a gym, like a Gold's Gym. And Will Smith is the best bodybuilder in the world. But, you know, he's not just a bodybuilder. He longs for more and all that shit. And then he meets her, and then it turns out she she also wants more. And he says, let me show you a magical new world. In, of course, Spielberg fashion. So he goes to he takes her into the men's locker room. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, no, like, trust me. Like, this is worth it. So then, like, they go past, and then there's this door, and it says, do not enter unless you're totally rad. And then he holds up an ID card that shows that it says he's totally rad on it. And then it opens up this new world, and it's like a happy version of the Twilight Zone. And then he takes her there, and then it's like, yeah, this place is pretty cool. And then it turns out there's the gym owner finds out about this place, and he hates Will Smith because he's jealous of what a badass he is. So then he just wants to, like, basically just take shit all over this world and ruin it. So then Will Smith is like, you're the key to saving this weird realm behind the gym door. And she's like, that makes no sense at all, but okay, sure. And it's called Gym Realm Savior.
Okay. That was well over a minute, but I allowed it because I wanted to hear how it ended.
Okay, so I cheated.
Yes.
All right, Robert, what do you got?
So, I picked Chan-wook Park for director.
Director of Oldboy.
Yes, and then I also picked Mel Gibson and Michelle Yeoh.
Oh man, that actually sounds like a badass movie.
It does.
Already.
In fact, the movie.
Hold on.
I was gonna say.
Hold your horses.
I'm ready.
Oh, well. You've got a minute on the clock, ready, go.
All right, so fade in. Mel Gibson is falling from the sky. His chute it's not working. He's parachuting and he's fallen, and the chute finally works, but he's veered so far off course, and he is no longer at the base of the South Korean skydiving camp that he was once at. He is now in North Korea. He's in Pyongyang, and he's got to fight his way out. He's got to fight his way through the compound that he's landed in, one of the North Korean governments. And he's punching. He's racial slurring it up, and he meets Michelle Yeoh, and they fuck, and he is definitely his daughter. He's definitely his daughter, and the movie is called it's called Kim Jong Fun.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. What you should have called it was Pyongyang to Pyeongchang.
That yes,
because it's about getting back to South Korea.
Okay,
well done. Time to spare as well. Okay, so this round I've got Chris Nolan is directing, Sandra Bullock and Margaret Cho are starring.
Okay. Your time will start right now.
Okay, so it's about these two archaeologists. Although one's a kooky archaeologist and one likes to play by the rules. Like Sandra Bullock plays the stoic one, and Margaret Cho plays the wacky one, because she's an archaeologist, but she's a different view on it. Like, like the opening scene, it's like you see how different they are. Sandra Bullock, it's all serious, and Nolan like digging. She's like, we have to dig farther. And she has a British accent for no reason. And Margaret Cho, meanwhile, you cut to her campsite. She's like, to hell with it, more dynamite. And just like shards of rock, just like off-screen explosion, just fly at her. Okay, and so they are friends, as I mentioned, and then they decide that on vacation they're going to go on this archaeological dig to find a B-52 bomber with live bombs, because they think they know what's up and they should have those bombs. It's called Dive Bomb.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I cheated again. I'm sorry.
Not by much, but...
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right, Robert, this is your final round.
Yes, it is.
What do you got?
I have Michael Bay as
Directing.
director, Melissa McCarthy, and French Stewart.
Oh, my God. All right, you have a minute on the clock. Ready, go.
All right, so fade in. French Stewart and Melissa McCarthy are falling out of the sky, and they're falling with. However, they're in the driver's seat and passenger seat of a garbage truck, and they're falling. And wait, stay with me here. They're falling, and as they fall, they land on the summit of Mount Everest, and they tip over and are sliding down Mount Everest all the way to the bottom. And the entirety of the movie is about them trying to figure out a way to stop this garbage truck, because of course the brakes aren't working, and they're like bowling over like yaks and shit, and like they're like bowling like through like Nepalese like villages. And it's called the movie's gonna be called Garbage Truck Foo.
Okay.
Okay.
In a random twist, we're going to do a bonus round.
Yes.
Because I wanted to finish off the names in the hat.
And
okay.
Alex's picks are in.
Okay. I chose Joe Swanberg as directing.
Okay.
And Adam Sandler and CCH Pounder.
Okay, nice. I'll give you 1 minute. Begin.
Okay, so it's about Adam Sandler plays this homeless heroin addict, and he loves the clarinet. He loves clarinet and painting with his feet.
Okay.
It's like a bizarre street performance thing, because he went to some technical college. He went to some technical arts school.
Okay.
They emphasize tech and arts. And CCH Pounder plays this like social worker, and she sees him, and it's like, I want to help you. And he's like, well, I don't know. I just like painting and like, you know. So he just says like you're not interested in what he's saying, and he takes too long to say it, and it's just like it's just like that conversation, and then they go to a bar and there's no plot and it just sucks.
Okay.
And it's called Tech Arts. Tech Arts and Bars.
Okay. All right. I like that. Tech, Arts, and Bars.
All right, Robert, you got the final actors and director.
I got Peter Jackson directing, Rebel Wilson, and Jet Li.
Wow, that is quite a duo you got there.
Yes.
All right, Robert, you got a minute on the clock. Ready, go.
Okay, so this is a movie about Jet Li and Rebel Wilson as two co-workers at a water treatment plant in Saskatchewan, and
okay.
they're very good at their jobs, but they want a new life. They get a new lease on life. So they want to run away together, and they want to blow up their workplace, and infect all the waters of Saskatchewan and surrounding whatever the hell province Saskatchewan is in with poo water. You know, they want to put poo in all the water. So it's all about Rebel Wilson and Jet Li sabotaging this water treatment plant and fighting bad guys that are trying to stop them and trying to fight their way out of getting the hell out of Saskatchewan. And the movie is called Saskatchewan, like scat is like scat.
Like poo.
Yeah, like poo.
Okay.
Also, I just realized that Saskatchewan actually is a province itself, so the whole province is fucked.
Wow. That was pretty enlightening. Okay.
Yes.
Now we buy and sell.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
All right, Robert, let's go through yours first, and I will decide to buy or sell. What was your first one?
I had it was Life in the Mortuary. That was the Wes Anderson, Gabrielle Union, The Rock movie.
Now, the lack of action is a little disappointing. However,
Yes.
I'm going to buy.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's something stupid enough that you could make quirky and people would like.
Okay, good. I had Chan-wook Park's Kim Jong-fun, starring Michelle Yeoh and, of course, Mel Gibson.
I'm for sure buying that,
Okay.
despite the disgusting twist.
Yes. And then I had Michael Bay's Garbage Truck Foo, starring Melissa McCarthy and French Stewart.
I am buying the hell out of that one.
Oh, man. Okay, and then I had Saskatchewan. Peter Jackson.
This is a hard sell.
Oh, man.
Because this is a hard pass because
Too much poop.
that's number one. It's also like the main characters are just like
Despicable.
eco-terrorists.
Pretty
Like who's your audience on this? I'm gonna have to sell.
Yes.
You did pretty good, though. I bought all except one. Okay, and then now you go through the ones I had.
Okay, so you had Eye Patch Prison, which, who directed that again?
That would be Quentin Tarantino.
Okay. You know what, the movie itself, I was a little underwhelmed, but the inclusion of Shrek made me, it's a buy for me.
Okay.
So
the Shrek statue.
Yeah, I like that
He's got two
MacGuffin.
eye patches, though.
That too. I mean, I love me some Tom Cruise with one eye patch and Valkyrie, for God's sakes. When he's got two, plus Shrek, I'm there.
Okay.
Your next film was Steven Spielberg's Jim Realm's Savior, starring Will Smith and who else was it? Anna Kendrick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I soft buy it. It. Just because it's
so your studio will maybe release it in January.
Yeah, and maybe delay it till the next January after.
And then they'll push it to February because they'll be like, it's Spielberg.
Yeah. So I soft buy that. I'm okay with that. And then your next one was Dive Bomb, the Christopher Nolan, Sandra Bullock, Margaret Cho adventure film. I'll say I sell it a little bit because I don't know. I've never seen Nolan do comedy. You know,
but it's not fully a comedy. She's just the comic relief.
Okay, she
Hence
just likes
the dynamite.
Okay, well, I'm still a little iffy on it, so that's probably going to be the only one I.
Okay, sell.
Yes.
What we got?
Tech Arts and Bars.
Okay, what do you got?
You know what? I normally am not a big fan of Joe Swanberg's work, but the cast, which of course included CCH Pounder.
Right.
And Adam Sandler. I mean, that's like Tom Green and Daniel Day-Lewis, but to a lesser degree. It's like, I feel like humanity would never allow that to happen in a very, very tragic way. It's just like, that needs to happen.
I feel like that could have happened like 20 years ago.
Yeah. So I'd buy that. I think we tied.
Okay, so we tied. All right. So everyone's a winner. Moving along, we've got a new segment. It's called From the Vault Reviews, where we take an old movie that we either hadn't seen until now, or maybe a movie we've, rediscovered, and then we review it.
Yes.
So we recently both saw a movie. It's the second movie in the original James Bond series, From Russia with Love.
Yes.
Follow-up to what was 1962 or 3?
I think it was 62.
Yeah, 62 classic Dr. No, which is a fantastic adventure film.
It is.
And then this,
kind of
wasn't.
Kind of isn't.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, From Russia with Love was one of the weaker ones. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. What are your thoughts on From Russia with Love, Robert?
I was watching this and I'm like, is something wrong with me? Because like this is highly regarded as like one of the best ones, and it's actually Sean Connery's favorite Bond movie.
Really?
Yeah. So as I was watching it, and as we start out, and like you hear the setup, and it's like, well, here's the problem. It's like there are no nukes involved. Dr. No had a nuke, right? To my knowledge, it was like what was at stake was like, well, the world could get destroyed. Whereas this is like, well, there's a decoding device that could end up in the Soviets' hands or Spectre's hands, and it's kind of like, okay, it felt a lot less Ian Fleming and a lot more John, how do you pronounce his name? John Le Carre or Le Carre?
Yeah,
the guy who does the Smiley books, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, that type.
Yeah,
it was a lot more like based on intrigue and less on action for at least the first half for me, and I thought the setup was really weird. Like it just. They say like the Tatiana, what's her name? Tatiana Romanova character.
Yeah.
It's like she's defecting to the US or to the UK because like she fell in love with Bond through like his file photo or some shit. I'm like, really? That's the setup for this movie.
I don't even remember that. That just kind of flew over my head because the one thing that stuck out to me was the beginning was kind of boring.
Yeah, it's not very quick. There's not really any set pieces. Or like any really moments of tension.
But apparently this was the first movie to introduce Q, right?
Yeah. That was the stuff I like. I like the Q stuff.
See, that's the thing is I understand there's a lot of important things this movie did, but then there's some like seriously baffling shit. Yeah. I think we both know what we're talking about.
Yeah, there's a scene. Well, there's a fight scene.
Yeah, there's a fight scene, and it's just so bizarre. So
it's pretty great.
All, yeah. Again, it's great. Like
For the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons, like Street Fighter from 1994 is great.
Yeah.
There's a part where they're in Turkey, right? So they go to Istanbul, and then there's these gypsies there.
Yeah.
And it's decided that there's these two gypsies in their, wagon crew that hate each other, and they must fight it out to settle their dispute. And the score is almost like I don't even know how do you describe it, but
it's overly serious.
Yeah, it's like a very serious score. Like the kind of scene that would be at the end, like James Bond would be fighting a bad guy on a cliff.
Yeah, it's
like that serious. And these two girls are fighting, and it's just like...
It's ridiculous.
This is so absurd.
Like, we're not even doing it justice. Like, look up the scene.
Yeah.
Like, it's something you need to see.
I can't describe it. Just look up the cat fight from
Russia with Love.
Yeah, and you'll probably find this scene. But it took me so badly out of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I know James Bond is campy.
Yeah.
But this was a little too absurd.
Yeah, and...
Because it wasn't like... There was a weird spy, or there was a weird gadget that was campy, or a villain who's eccentric. This fight scene that's at least a minute and a half long.
Yeah, no, it's we linger on it for a bit.
Yeah,
and it's like surprising. I mean, it's not like well choreographed, but it's like there's choreography.
Yeah,
clearly, like they put effort into this scene.
That's the thing that blows my mind the most is. If you look at the two women fight, they both look so serious.
Yeah. It's like, it's just very
But the moves
weird.
are so awkward and, like, stage play-y. Like, nah, I'm gonna get ya.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They just look very goofy, yet serious at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's that.
The scene that happens after that, it's the same scene, I guess, technically, but, like, the fights, or, like, the gunfight / raid that happens after that was great.
Yeah, see, that was one part where I was like, this is, like, the stuff I watch James Bond movies for. And the funny thing was, I realized I've seen parts of this on TV a bunch of times. I'd just never seen it from start to finish. And the scene that made me realize that I had was that raid scene.
Yeah.
Because that was really, to me, the only superbly memorable scene in this movie.
Yeah, the middle of this movie is very slow. And let's say once you get to Turkey, it's just like, it kind of grinds to a halt, and it becomes like, very, like, intrigue spy-y, Like, there's, like, a scene where, like, people are tailing each other, or there's, like, a scene where, like, they gotta assassinate some guy in the town square, and, like, in the middle of the night, and there's like no tension because it's just like they just shoot him, and like
I don't even remember that part.
Right, it's like there's a bunch of scenes where like I would say up until there's a scene where there's a sequence where they're on a train, and even like the first half.
That's like the worst part of the movie. The whole train sequence to me was so boring, and it felt. You know what? This is crazy. It felt dated for the time the movie came out.
Yeah.
I thought this would be great if it was a Dashiell Hammett 1940s movie or like a Billy Wilder type thing.
But not James Bond.
Yeah.
But I will say this about the train sequence. It ends on a, oh my God, like the fight scene at the end of that train sequence. I'm like, yes. I'm like, this is what I fucking popped this movie for. The one with Robert Shaw, Captain Quinn from Jaws, the blonde guy.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm like this. I mean, because it was just really cool. Like they're in a fight, obviously, and he's a Spectre agent. Sean Connery's beating him up, and like they punch the lights out, and it goes like all like weird, like UV lit, and like it's just a great scene. I'm like, yes, this could stand up against like some of the fight scenes and like some of the shittier Daniel Craig like movies. Like I just thought it was great, and
it's a well choreographed scene, and it kind of hammers home the point that a lot of old movies, I wouldn't say had better. You know what I will say? They kind of did have a little bit better choreography because they had to do more in each shot, and the shots were wider.
It just felt more desperate. Like they were just like, I don't know, like they were just like throwing each other all over the place and like hacking at each other and doing whatever they could.
You know what fight scene it reminded me a lot of? And it's funny, this fight scene, there's a movie called, I can't remember, it was like Amber something.
Okay.
And it was directed by Robert Klaus, who directed Enter the Dragon.
Okay.
And this fight scene was so intense And it turns out what happened was one of the actors accidentally punched the other actor in the nose and it turned into a real fight.
Really?
But they just kept rolling.
The movie's called Darker Than Amber?
Yes.
Okay.
And that movie caught Bruce Lee's attention, and he's like, I want this guy to direct Enter the Dragon.
Really?
But it's the desperation and the...
Reminded me of the beginning fight scene from Casino Royale in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like where he makes his first kill or whatever. Like it just felt really desperate. And I'm like,
there's a
this is why I'm
struggle
here.
element.
Yeah. And I mean, they set up that character so well. And that's one of the dynamics I really liked was like the Robert Shaw character. What's his name? Red Grant.
Yeah.
And he's
something like that.
He's like, I don't know, saving Bond throughout the movie because he wants to kill him after he gets the decoding device or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that because you're like, and they have that scene in the beginning where he kills that Bond impersonator or whatever, the Bond imposter.
Well, I thought it was like a training thing.
Well, yeah, but like he kills him. The dude fucking dies. And I totally called that too because I'm like, why does Sean Connery's makeup look weird? His like lips look like way darker than they were supposed to be.
It was also obvious it's like he's got the drop on him.
Yeah.
Bond wouldn't let himself get his
it's
ass
gotta be
kicked this
fake.
badly. Yeah.
But I love that they set that fight scene is set up throughout the whole. I mean, it's the hook. You're like, okay, so this is going to be the bad guy, and Bond's going to have to fight this guy, and that's why the fight scene is so satisfying because you're like, this is the scene I've been waiting for.
Well, but that's the problem. Is that's a great scene, but is that your money shot James Bond movie moment?
I think there shouldn't be just one. There should be more than one.
That's the problem. Is to me that was really one of the standout moments. And then what?
I would even say from that point on, it's fine. Like I like.
Yeah.
There's a really cool like whirlybird chase scene where Bond's driving a truck and like there's this helicopter like dive bombing him. Remember that?
Not really.
It's pretty awesome. Like they like it reminded me of like the crop duster scene from North by Northwest, where like literally there's like James Bond's like running like on foot, and this thing's like swooping down and trying to like clip him. It's pretty awesome.
What kind of truck is he driving?
It's like a yellow like pickup truck.
Okay,
You don't remember that?
Maybe I need to watch that part again. But
I feel you though because
I was pretty checked out after the train.
The movie doesn't really start until the end. It's a little too much too late or too little too late.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem. Is by the end, and then you got the boat chase?
Yeah, which was also fine.
Which is fine, but by that point, I was so done with it.
How did you feel about the villains?
They're okay.
See, that's what I thought. I'm like...
Nothing to write home about.
Yeah, there's no Dr. No. There's no Goldfinger. It's like there's three people. It's like there's
the
lady.
The Russian lady who's...
Rosa Klebb.
Yeah.
She's the maid at the end of the movie. Remember that?
Oh, and then he...
Kills her?
Yeah.
There's her, and there's the chess guy who gets killed, and he's kind of like only in those two scenes. Like he has the chess scene, and then he gets killed by Blofeld, who's the other villain, and then Red Grant. But like, there's no other like... there's no Alec Trevelyan, or, there's no Lashif, or even Lashif was kind of like a red herring, but, like, there's no Silva, there's no big bad that Bond gets a chance to, like, do anything with.
Yeah.
And I was also just, like, really surprised, like, how much of a direct sequel to Dr. No this was. Like, the movie starts off, and, like, Spectre's all like, yeah, fuck Bond, he killed Dr. No, and he foiled our plans in the Caribbean. I'm like, holy shit, like, I always thought the movies were just kind of like...
standalone.
Yeah, and like they directly reference shit that happened in the previous better movie.
Yeah. That's the other thing, is this felt like because this is a complaint people give all the time about new movies, is when they do a post-credit scene that's too on the nose or like whatever.
Right.
This movie, or... people say that some movies feel like they're just setting up for sequels.
Yeah.
This movie kind of seemed that way at times.
Just so happens that the sequel to this movie is also better. Goldfinger.
Goldfinger is far superior to this.
Which is weird, because like I need to rewatch Dr. No and Goldfinger, because just to compare with this, like what did those movies have that this didn't? Because I remember I've seen them multiple times and I love them.
Fort Knox, Odd Job.
Yeah, they had...
Need I say more?
Well, they also had better... well, at least Dr. No had a better Bond girl. The
Yeah.
the Ursula Andress character is like super badass, and this one's just like really doe-eyed and like boring, and just I didn't care about anything she had to do with anything. Like she just was kind of insignificant, like a non-factor.
Yeah, he's just like, you stay here while I take care of things.
Yeah, it's just
it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just not very cool.
No,
not cool at all.
I do got to give it props because the end is so much better. And there are, the beginning, like the first 2/3 are not like unwatchably boring. Like again, like you have like that scene at the gypsy camp, which like perked my ears up. I'm like, what's going on? Where you're just like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not unwatchably boring. But I was still shocked at how much I disliked a lot of this movie.
I was shocked mostly because of how well received it's been over the years. It's like one of the best Bonds,
Which, that's kind of crazy. I think, like, I might be going out on a limb here. Even though Diamonds Are Forever is so ridiculous, I like it better than this one. Just a little bit.
I don't know.
I know that's like a little... Okay, maybe not that it's I'm not going to say it's a better movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, like, it's more entertaining because it's just so ridiculous the whole time through.
Yeah.
Because you got, what are the two guys that are just weird?
Oh,
like Mr.
yeah.
Big and something.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
They got Bambi and Thumper.
Yeah. Jesus.
And you've got classics, like, I didn't know there was a pool down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's, the characters you're looking for, by the way, are, let's see. They were Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd were their names.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's the thing, is there's a lot more memorable things in it than really... From Russia with Love, I don't remember the bad guys really, like, they didn't have much shtick.
Yeah.
Other than Spectre has his cat, but he's hardly in the movie.
And Dr. No has his, he's got his hands, right? Everyone's got their thing. Oddjob's got his hat. Goldfinger's,
That's what I'm saying. In the bad
got
guys,
his laser.
In this, it's like you got Captain Shaw or whatever his name is, just younger and whatever.
Yeah.
And then the one lady is just, like, she's just short.
Yeah,
like
she gets killed really quick.
Yeah.
She has a shoe knife.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't really love the movie.
I was really surprised, too, because I was operating under the assumption that it had to be as good. Well, especially because 1 and 3 are so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen...
This was a definite dip in quality.
I haven't seen Thunderball either.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think I've seen it from start to finish either. Because I've seen probably all of them, like, at some point, just because they used to have the Bondathon.
Yeah.
On Thanksgiving.
Well, here are the ones that I have definitely seen. I have definitely seen Dr. No from Russian with Love, Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die. I've seen Octopussy. It's pretty damn bad. A View to a Kill, which is so bad it's good.
Is that the one with Timothy Dalton?
A View to a Kill?
Yeah.
That's the one with, it's a Roger Moore one. I think it's the final Roger Moore one. And it has Mr. Christopher Walken as the bad guy.
Wow.
Where he wants to blow up the Golden Gate Bridge or some bullshit.
Sounds amazing.
It's pretty damn bad. I've seen, which one's the one? The World Is Not Enough. Is that the one with Sophie Marceau?
I don't know.
And then I've seen Die Another Day, and I've seen all of the Daniel Craig ones.
Okay. I've seen... I feel like I've seen at least, like, chunks on TV of all the Connery and Roger Moore ones. Mm-hmm. I've seen just a little bit of In Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
And George Lazenby just looks... Every scene he's in, he just looks so out of place.
Yeah. True fact. That is Christopher Nolan's favorite Bond movie.
Which one?
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Really?
Yeah. He credits that as an inspiration for Inception. The skiing scene, in fact, for the Snow Fortress scene.
That's kind of crazy.
I know. But, yeah,
I was pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
What would you give this?
I'd give it a soft 6. out of 10. You know, because I didn't dislike it. I disliked a fair amount of it, but there were parts I really loved. Like there's no way I'm gonna deny that when shit is going down, it's entertaining, and you know, I wish there was more stuff going on. I wish there was more at stake. You know, that didn't feel like there was anything at stake in this movie.
Yeah, you know what? I just hated the train sequence, for the exception of the fight at the end. That whole part was just so drawn out.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be that long. And on top of that, the biggest sin of that was it was right before the finale, so I wasn't pumped at all for the finale. I was kind of just like, end.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'd have to give this a soft 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I'm
going to have to watch the last part again, because there's a lot of it I just was out of it.
I liked it a lot, and it was frustrating for me, because I'm like, where was this? Like, this is what I wanted this movie to be for the whole thing, and it kind of isn't. There's a lot of it where just nothing's going on.
Okay, so it didn't get a perfect 15 out of 15 from us.
No, it did not.
That's how our combined scores are going to work from now on.
Yes.
Because it's out of 5 for me and out of 10 for Robert.
So what is that out of 10? A 6 and a 2.5 is that's about 8.5.
8.5 out of 15.
That's not good.
It's not good. But it is what it is, and Bond continued to thrive, and I'm glad it did.
Yes, I'm so glad, because the next movie would get even better with Goldfinger.
That's right. All right, thank you for listening to the 5th episode. Don't forget to check us out on our Facebook page, and also to subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as our SoundCloud.
And if you have any suggestions on what we should talk about or review for next week, feel free to let us know in the comment sections of any of our platforms.